Hello and welcome to a very special edition of High Desert Voices, a podcast by the Western Colorado Writers Forum. Today, you will be hearing from poets all over Western Colorado, reading their own poetry and a handful of poems that were submitted to us, but will be read by me, to give you a little bit of poetry injected into your day, whether you're commuting or doing the dishes or you just want to listen to some art from local artists. This is a very special episode of just that. If you are a poet who wants to be included in a future very special poetry episode of this podcast, please head to the link in our episode description. There is a Google form that will walk you through how to submit, because we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to do more episodes like this.
My name is Phillip Hurt, and this is my poem titled A Poet's Epitaph. A poet's final words, their last poem, an epitaph, carved into the porous granite of their headstone, stands erect so as never to let it rest or be buried in the settling soil or obscured by the overgrown grass. A poet's epitaph's everlasting words stamped in stone are no less important than the words left behind, leaving the granite to soak the unused like a sponge. A poet's epitaph will serve as a template or a prompt for the wandering poet who is yet to write their first. A poet's epitaph's words provoke the thoughts that linger from season to season and this generation to the next, long enough for the words to make little sense to today's passerbys and to resonate so deeply to tomorrow's. A poet's epitaph is the roadmap to the puzzle after making mess of one's life. There's no space for empty words, so a poet's epitaph's simplicity must walk beside its depth, much like filling your bucket from a well that's fed by the runoff of an ancient glacier. Therefore, a poet's epitaph must include the following: anything and everything from the moment prior to the conception of existence to just beyond it being an afterthought.
A Mother's Love by Yvette Gardner. Sitting in silence in a row of pews, surrounded by sorrow, gloom, and doom. If anyone knew the true you, I wouldn't feel so blue. Ash and bone, buried in limestone, of a mother who loved me so. I relive the mistreatings of the beatings, skin on back receding, stuck in a trunk because mother was drunk, sometimes bound to a chair, my bottom raw and bare. How can life be so unfair? My mother loved me so. At the wake, my feelings fake. How can God forsake? My mother loved me so. Secrets laid to rest, scars on my chest, feeling confused and a mess. My mother loved me so.
How the hell can a person go to work in the morning and come home in the evening and have nothing to say? So, what happens between the working? Where's the living? What does it sound like? Do I have enough energy to get back at it again? If I connect the dots, make all the associations, just where does that happen, this thing that I know? What are you asking so that I can be clear? Is it a single answer, a word, or something you want to hear? 'Cause I'm kind of lost and I don't know what we're doing. Do you want to light that fire? Can we light that fire? I'm kind of lost and I'm no longer sure what we're doing. You want to light that fire? Burn the whole thing down. I think it's in the in-between, the time, in and around the lines. I think it's how we connected a long time ago. But I might be misremembering, and maybe I need your help. Might have forgotten. I know we did it together, But baby, I need your help. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go.
My name is Jose A. Alcantara, and this is my poem, Heading Out to Sea. Heading out to sea, every boat carries another boat in case the first boat sinks. Imagine if you could do that for yourself. Imagine the second body, deflated, folded up, tucked away in your back pocket, ready to be whipped out when the first body fails. It would have to be smaller, made of cheaper materials, but also lighter, more willing to go with the flow. This is it, the final body, the one you accept just as it is, never worrying about how it looks compared to other bodies, the one you cling to with everything you have, in love with its rubbery flesh, its tendency to bounce off obstacles, its precious fetid breath.
My name is Kristen Hartman. My poem is My Magical Flamenco Shoes.
When I tie on my flamenco shoes.
When I tie on my red flamenco shoes,
Tie on my flamenco shoes.
I step to another space and time, outside and inside this broken world we've grown.
When I tie on my flamenco shoes.
I am not old. Even my new teeth feel like my own.
Tie on my flamenco shoes.
I am not spent and ugly. No, I am passion.
When I tie on my flamenco shoes.
No child cries in fear. For away in this space, the songs of peace.
My flamenco shoes
Outdance the pains of war.
When I tie on my flamenco shoes.
I step in bold defiance.
Tie on my flamenco shoes.
To repel that evil eye back into its cold abyss.
Tie on my flamenco shoes.
For I am not yet done.
My magical flamenco shoes.
My name is Dan Rosenberg, and this is my poem, The Stapler. For the hole in the aorta of our nation, I've got this stapler. For the slow descent of the sky, I've got this stapler. For tears pooling in the echo of the dog's sharp bark, for the poor signal tethering grandpa to grandson and the absence only one of them knows, for the buckled sidewalk in front of the food pantry, for the brown slush in the asparagus bag, I've got this stapler. Good news, democracy. Good news, rhinos. I've got this stapler. Sometimes, in the small blizzard above my desk, two papers will briefly separate, and there is joy. Sometimes even the wallpaper corners peel out into the room, and I know my stapler isn't what's called for, but it works. It works for now. I watch the lightning batter the clock tower, and I grip my stapler. I watch the blood moon rise. With it, the dead are rising with no particular desires, as if they've exited the elevator on the wrong floor. My father's father wanders up to me, working a familiar hat in his bony hands. He spins it slowly. His mouth is a cave of light. I rise from my desk and my head is in the blizzard. My eyes go white. I want to take his hands, but I've got this stapler.
Standing on the beach. Leaving the dark portal to find the light. Nestled in the sand, admiring serenity. You came to me in ashes and dust. Slowly, like a breath, I saw your demeanor. Utterly exhausted. Swirled in death, you crawled to me. We embraced with tears of relief, flooding your indistinct face. You were fading out before we met today. Slipping out of reach, curling at my feet. Grayish tatters and whispery strands of you screaming to die. Death was no surprise, watching your particles float away. Minute, tiny grains of sadness and anger, flung like sand into the air. A death of eons, the ancient burden crushing your soul. Finding peace at last, you gifted me freedom. Now I am left in the dark, and I don't know what to do.
Hi, my name is Madison Sylva, and this is my poem entitled The Heron Startled the Calf Who Startled Me. The heron startled the calf who startled me. I heard the huge wings beating like the heart of the earth. I saw the shadow out of the corner of my eye, as the calf must have, flinching at a darkness so sudden and so large, it could only register in the poor animal's flight or fight-wired brain as a predator. When I saw who it was, when all the fragments came together beneath the soldier's tip of my sensationalist mind, I cried out to her, like a god whose return was prophesied. It was the closest view of her I'd ever gotten, and she looked ancient. Not in a fragile sense, no, like a being who had seen regimes rise and fall, another crease etched into her weathered face for each pass made beyond the veil and back. In short, the heron carried an air of magnificence about her, the likes of which might have chosen better subjects to share the fortune of a fleeting moment with than a trembling calf and a trembling girl, and still she chose us.
Hi, my name is Phillip, and this is my poem titled Trip to the Hardware Store. Who's to say that existence didn't begin at this exact moment? A blip that's gone on longer than intended? Snap, crackle, and pop rode the first detectable sound wave, but ears hadn't been invented yet to distinguish which was which and what from what. Naked atoms to nosebleeds, and all other things nestled in between. They're found in dreams, double dog daring the dreamer to make a spare key for their closest friends.
My name's Frank Hozel, and this is my poem, Mosquito, Burrito. I was ready to eat my burrito when along came a mosquito. We were both ready to bite. I swatted at him. He flew off into the night. As I finished my burrito, a gnat buzzed by my Doritos. A bat flying by ate the gnat, and that's that, so keep all this under your hat.
Nostos by Alida Franco. Like Ulysses, the journey of life long, the challenges arduous, the longing great. Yearning for home, peace, and identity, at the hearth fire's belonging, one among the people. Ensnared by dreams and illusions, trapped in the web of endless repetitions, all the while treading water. The sirens luring me far from course, those strident cries that hypnotize, draining the impetus of will. Unleash me now and let me go, for homeward bound I am.
Brian, disclaimer, path of liberty, through creativity and the divinity of leadership, each new day to write, a genocide of my past that leads to peace, a cautionary tale to tame the child within before it destroys you. The unwritten destinies will return to ash, forego lost legacies, lying siege to my attachments, subsequently stumble upon autonomy. The sound is the sublime beating of a paradigm shift. Wait, repetition, time can break a pulley. Pain nor fear, death the only certainty. We turn all the lights off at night now.
This is The Vampyre's Last Dawn by Micheal Picco. I long to see the light of dawn and taste Aurora's tears, forsaking Mistress Nyx, to scorch and cleanse my ancient heart disgraced, and end my endless years by soul transfixed. The fates hath spun my life in death, my lust is hunger spawned. The life which flows within my veins I stole no long ago. The dust of tombs, sepulchral wombs, my only kin in hell, shall I be sought to taste the blood of knaves, or shall my soul seek slumber deep midst heaven's airy waves? Abysmal flood which squalls and shrieks, lulling defeated souls to sleep. For death's sweet kiss have I untold bestowed, but thus, with dawn, death's kiss is mine to know.
High Desert Voices is the official podcast of the Western Colorado Writers Forum, a nonprofit organization based in Grand Junction, Colorado. The forum's mission is to foster a rich and diverse writing community on Colorado's western slope that invites participation from diverse cultures, customs, and life experiences. The forum hosts Writers' Night presentations at the Grand Junction Center for the Arts on the first Tuesday of every month, where local and national writers give presentations on their craft. Sign up for the forum's free newsletter and listen to all our podcast episodes for free at westernColoradoWriters.org.